Hello, my name is Alun. My pronouns are he, him. And today I am facilitating I'm losing track. Is this the sixth, I think? Sixth, thank you. The sixth of an initial 7 sessions of Free from the Yoke from UFO Press. If you want to know more about the game or about the setup for this series of sessions, then please go back to session 1, because we can't do the whole spiel. I will remind everyone watching and playing that we are playing with a set of safety tools. So we're playing with lines and veils. And again, those are in the character keeper. Do give them a look, update them if you wish. We're also playing with an open door and with the X card. And we're using stars and wishes as a kind of debrief tool at the end of each session. So I'm not going to say much more than that, really, I think, except to say that we turned the age last time and had we held court for a new season. So much setup went on. We're hoping to get into the meat of some role playing again today. So let me go round the table in the order I can see you in front of me. Dan, say hello, tell us about your pronouns and introduce us to character and house.
Hello, my name is Dan Brown. My pronouns are he, him. I am playing the Sparking Chisel and Blazing Mallet, a house of forgers. They're builders. They focus on stone and metal rather than anything else. They have shifted their focus in the new age away from large structures to smaller pieces, wearables, maybe even weapons, things like that. They were a bit burned in the last age and trying to take on a project that was perhaps too big for them and for the politics of the land. I'm specifically playing Kassie, Onyx Chip. She's carried over. She was a young ambassador in those days and has become a mature lore master.
Thank you very much. Let me go next to Joe. Say hello and introduce us to character and house.
Hello, my name is Joe. I will be playing he, him, sorry. I am playing the house of the Jezdec Horselords of the Steppe. Currently, the character I am playing is Saruke, who is a silver-tongued diplomat, a young silver-tongued diplomat who happens to be the sister of the current leader of the Jezdec. Yeah, so I think that's it. Other than I just noticed I'm apparently coming to you from Santa's workshop here, so maybe I'll blur my thing out. I didn't.
No, I'm just really pleased you're getting the packing done early, Joe. I've yet to shop. So good for you. And finally, Jason, say hello, tell us about your pronouns and introduce us to character and house.
Hi, I'm Jason. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing the church called the Shining Path. And we have been given the job by the wise of cleansing the realm of these evil spirits. And my new character is Eva. She is the daughter of Sala, who has now become the leader of the church. She is a wandering adventurer. We'll learn more about her today, I think.
Thank you very much. Our fourth player is ill today, so Alex, we hope you're feeling better and hope to see you next time. Last time we did the turning of the age, we did the turning of the season and held court, so there was some fallout from that. What I'd like to do is to ask each of the player characters in turn to set a scene in the kind of immediate aftermath of that conclave of the wise, just to get a feel for who they want to talk to about their feelings about the current state of play, what their plans for the future might be, whatever else. And that'll also give me an opportunity to ask the role question that is currently relevant. So again, I'm going to stick with that order. So Dan, let's go to Kassie first. Let's have Kassie set a scene and tell me who else is present.
Yeah, it's a shame Alex isn't here because Kassie would definitely go to Elina for what she has to deal with. It looks like Yeah, the
If
main
only
thing
people
is,
knew where Alina had gone
and yeah,
in the
she's sort
aftermath.
of, she's slipped away. I
Must
think
be
she's
said
done.
the entire cursed kind of delegation slipped away because they were judged to be beneath the notice of the wise.
That's right. Yeah.
So they've slunk away in the night.
I think she wants to go to complain to someone, and because she's been given this, the house has been given this mission. The heads of the house are kind of useless, and she's feeling anxious about having to complete this mission while also deal with some more immediate threats. We had added some avalanches to the map as well.
I couldn't find a good avalanche symbol, so I put a couple of smoking volcanoes in. I hope that's okay.
That seems great. So I think as I'm looking at the two other characters present, I feel like she might approach Eva to talk about arranging an expedition to explore the stairs beneath the monolith. Maybe so she doesn't have to, so Kassie doesn't have to get wrapped up in that.
Before you get into the scene proper, I do want to ask a question in terms of understanding Kassie at this point, because Kassie has had this bee in her bonnet for the last 20 years about how the
rough.
leadership of the Chisel Mallet has let everyone down. How is she balancing that? Is this conversation going to help me understand how she's balancing that against the more immediate job that Chisel Mallet have been given?
That's a good question. Yeah, I sort of imagine that maybe over the last 20 years, any attempts that she's had to organize have been essentially failures, and that she hasn't changed the balance of power, and that the folks that we knew 20 years ago leading the house are the same folks today, but they've become more corrupt or more disengaged from the lands. So in a sense, because she's been organizing as well, a lot of the leadership stuff has fallen to her, even though she's not technically the head of any of the clans. So that's where, does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. Then I'll shut up. You get on.
I think she feels like she's kind of on the verge. She's almost constantly on the verge of upsetting the balance of power.
Dan, let me pitch something to you. Last age, Kassie had a backstory with Sala that they have a history that is quite unprofessional. How do you feel about Kassie being Eva's mother?
I say, why the hell not?
Like Sala and her were never married or anything, but things happened. And...
Is it possible that Sala took Eva away and didn't really give Kassie a chance to be a mother to Eva?
That sounds like him, yeah.
They're aware of the relationship, but there's not much of a relationship.
Exactly.
That's right. Okay.
Yep. So maybe if you're going to come to me, talk about an adventure, maybe you find me in a wine house somewhere, probably in a fight with someone.
I'm standing kind of off to the side waiting for a break, and maybe it's one of these things where I'm doing like Eva, and you can't hear me because you're fighting, and then I kind of do the mom Eva voice to get your attention.
Right. So I finished fighting with whoever it is. Mother, strange to see you here.
You don't need to call me that.
That's who you are, though, isn't it?
I guess so, insofar as I gave birth to you, but your father saw to it that we didn't have much of a relationship over the years. It is good to see you, and I do take pleasure in the fact that you are thriving in your own way.
It's true. What brings you here, Mother?
I have a lot on my plate, and the wise have asked the Chisel and Mallet to descend into the crypts, potentially the tunnels beneath the monolith. A mysterious door has opened there, I have people to spare, but I don't know that I can make this journey myself. I've got matters to deal with elsewhere. Is this something that I can count on you to help with?
I say, actually, that sounds good because I think I need to leave town now and look around and see all these people I probably killed.
I would say that you have, as you always do, outstayed your welcome. I guess my lingering concern is, will your father approve of such a trip?
Who cares? He's no longer lords over me. I do what I please.
Is he not the head of the Shining Path?
He is, but I've chosen my own path.
Is this
So-
where we find out your role, the answer to your role question, Eva? Say who you've been tasked to defeat.
Right.
Hmm.
I think this might be my mother now, right? Just put me in command of some warriors and sent me out to defeat something.
You tell me.
Yeah, I think so. Then it says GM says where they are and what obstacle stands in your way. I think the story kind of is laying that out for us.
Fine. So you are going to defeat whatever is beneath that monolith.
Which monolith was it? Is it the original monolith?
It's the
Okay.
it's the only
Yeah.
surviving monolith. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kassie, do you want to open the box on your role question as well, or do you want to leave that in abeyance for a bit?
I could do this if you'd like to do this now.
Well, the question is, mark when you are sent to understand a mystery, place, or creature. Say 3 possibilities you should suspect for the truth. The GM will say which one you can rule out.
Great. I'm going to go investigate the what do we call them? The power lines.
The lines of power, yeah.
Lines of power, and I think the possibilities are. My immediate assumption is that the corruption in our house is what's having an effect on that, and that sort of the larger breakdown of the land is making it difficult for the wise to tap into the power. Second one is that when the statues were forged and created, they were created in such a way, maybe it's the mysterious metal, there we go, that was integrated into the statues that is disrupting the power lines. And I think the third one is the spirits that have emerged and are haunting the land are draining the power. Do those align with
That's
what
fine.
you would imagine?
I will tell you which one I don't think is true.
Okay.
I don't think that the spirits are draining the power. I think the spirits are emerging because the power is low.
Great.
So it's chisel and mallet corruption or some effect of the metal that was incorporated in the statues.
Yep. Shoddy statue construction.
Yeah. Where else do you want to go with this scene, if anywhere? No.
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was good.
Then let me just check that I've given you enough for that role question, Eva. GM says where they are, what obstacles stand in your way. The obstacle that stands in your way is that. Who might it be? I think that we know that next to near the monolith was a pilgrim way station back in the day. That way station has become something of a pilgrim, in itself almost a place of pilgrimage. And so there is quite a significant settlement of pilgrims in the vicinity of the monolith. Yeah. Okay, let's go next to Saruke. Saruke, set me a scene. Who's in it?
Okay, so I've been thinking here that perhaps I've got Saruke has a couple snakes up her sleeve. And so I kind of like the idea of wherever this so I think that Saruke was at the wine house, at the same place, kind of back in the shadows, listening a bit. And as the two of them separate, or I think I imagine that because of all of the rough and tumble shenanigans, Eva is the one who leaves, based on what you had said there. And we'll have Saruke approaching Kassie, and because I know one of the things we established was that the wise had tasked the Jezdec with providing bodyguards, and we're not allowed to let the lore masters of the Chisel and Mallet die under any circumstances. So I think we'll see her, and I'm got Saruke as sort of a very ambitious young diplomat that will use all the tools at her disposal to get what she wants for her house, as well as her own machinations. So just prepare yourself for that. So I think we see her approach Kassie, and as she approaches, she says, family, so touching and complicated, and but it is so touching to see the love of a mother, but as you know, fathers and daughters. So she's trying to sow a little bit of a, she's going to have this conversation, try to sow a little bit of a, maybe Eva isn't so disconnected from her father as you think. So she's trying to kind of sow little notes of discord in there.
I think Kassie grabs abandoned drink off a nearby table, downs it real fast, slams the cup down, and says, well, I know you Jezdec have interesting definitions of family anyway. Is there something I can help you with?
So I am to understand that you, Lore Master Kassie, will be partaking a journey, and I am to offer the services of an honor guard to ensure your safety. I also know that perhaps you and the leadership of your house are not you do not see eye to eye with the leadership of your house. As you know, the Jezdec have recently in the past decades have reclaimed the righteous ways of their house and gone back to the true and proper honorable ways of our house. And it saddens me to see your house having descended to such low places. And there would if there were any opportunities to help one reclaim the proper management and honor of a house, one should only look so close as the friends among them.
Kassie has yawned a couple times as you are making this speech and says, Saruke, I was once a young, ambitious ambassador for my house as well. And I once thought I could make a big difference in this world. But as I've gotten older over the last couple of decades, I've come to realize there's only so much any of us can do. If you feel like you need to be by my side as I go about my business, I'm not going to stop you. If you feel like you need to bring an honor guard, based on the words of the wise, I am not going to stop you. But do not ask for my help in return.
So I think her face she's been sort of all genteel and whatnot. Her face will harden. And you'll see her say, I may be young, but I am no fool. Know that the Jezdec will support you in your endeavors. And then she will just turn and leave.
Can I ask, Kassie, is there any hint? You've got some backstory with Saruke. I don't think Saruke knows I know what they did. Does the audience get any hint of what's behind that or not?
I think that's great. I thought I'd imagined as Saruke walked off, the camera sort of lingered on Kassie and that she sort of gave almost a disgusted look, but maybe actually what we see is once she's confident that Saruke has left, it's a look of fear that Kassie has. Joe, does that work for you? That whatever it was, it makes Kassie a bit of afraid. Does that sound okay?
Oh, you should be. I'm just sorry. I'm just kidding. So when I read this, so under Cassie's backstory, it's got kind of like a double negative something in there. So that the way this reads is, I don't think Saruke knows that I know what they did. So you know that I did something, right?
Yes.
And I think that's something that you did scares me.
Perfect.
But I didn't want to. I'm a practiced enough ambassador and lore master that I did not let on that I was scared by you.
Perfect.
But now the audience knows that I'm scared by you.
Love it.
A stiff drink.
Yeah, I'm going to grab another drink.
Yeah, and I think that moment too, where she so easily switched from, being, flirty and nice and stuff, and then all of a sudden it just went, it's probably mildly terrifying too.
And I suppose while I'm just picking at backstory, I am, I suppose, curious then in terms of Cassie's backstory, Saruke's backstory with Kassie. Kassie saved my life when a deal went very wrong. Do we get any sense as the camera follows Saruke out of this wine bar come tavern of anything around that bit of backstory?
Yeah, so I think maybe she's maybe you see her exit the building, and she turns and then kind of ducks down an alley and then just stops up against sort of the wall and kind of you see sort of a maybe for a brief moment all of the sort of the many faces, right, kind of just and that there's this moment of where she's where you sense that she's maybe a little frustrated that she feels like she doesn't know if she got what she wanted there, if she got her point across well enough, or and I suspect, and we can play out what exactly the deal went wrong was, but I do like Dan, you would suggest this. I do like the idea that at some point in the last little while, many years or whatever, she rushed into some diplomatic situation in a very inexperienced way with maybe some group and was literally, they were going to kill her, right? Some sort of like analog of like when she does all the wrong stuff and but then Kassie had stepped in to brush over the situation to prevent violence from occurring or something. So
while we're at it, Saruke, say who you're. So Mark, when you're sent to bring peace between two groups, what is your what is the job that the Jezdec have allocated to Saruke? We've talked about what the wise want, but what do the Horselords want from Saruke right now?
Well, so I had clicked champion because so I have two on a character here. I have kind of two threads that, you know, as we were sitting here and the other conversation was going on, I thought this idea of helping Kassie deal with this corrupt leadership would be of the house's benefit, just in the sense of she might have a marker on you know, Kassie in that house. My original thought was I want to do something with the Marauders, like originally her goal was to essentially, without any of the other houses knowing, she's going to try to forge an alliance with the Jezdec, with the Marauders, for their own purposes. I don't think they really care what the Marauders do with anybody else, but for their own purposes. So I'm now trying to decide whether I should mark rogue, mark when you seek allies to bring a corrupt leader down, but I don't know if that really is more focused as a corrupt leader of my own house.
I think it is. I think it is principally.
Okay, so I think I think I'll stick with champion, and I still think so that her charge is to forge an alliance with the Marauders.
Fine.
This may just be a side gig.
I will want to know at some point who your contacts are in each. And then I'll tell you which grudge is keeping them apart. Okay?
So is the way that written is what grudge is keeping
these two individuals apart, so you cannot get the negotiations going.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go then to Eva. Eva, do you want to set a scene? Because only three of you are here, it's a bit narrow, but
Sure.
you know, don't feel obliged. But if you want to set a scene, I'm very happy for you. Or you could set a scene with an NPC if you wanted to.
Yeah. So I see the Jezdec have to provide bodyguards for the lore masters of the Chisel and Mallet.
Yeah.
So I think we see me leaving my meeting there with Kassie and walking away and going to a dark alley, and where I spot one of these lore masters that I have a history with, and I want to kill them. So maybe I challenge them to a duel or something. I come out and slap them in the face with my glove, and maybe Saruke happens to come by, or maybe is it Saruke that I want to have a clash with? What do you think, Joe?
I
I'm just
believe
looking at
You and I do have
backstory.
history. Yeah, you and I do have some history.
I defeated you at one point.
Maybe it's time for payback. Maybe I doubled back to get my bottle of wine and I see you there. And I say, you know, it's go time. Finally, you know, I found you, you bitch. And I draw my blade. Perhaps, you know, poison tinged blade.
Because there is a duel move, which I have to say I've not paid much attention to. When you face down a matched foe in single combat, gain hold equal to your might score, +1 for each of these that is true, and then you spend the hold to work out who comes out on top. So I guess it's down to Saruke whether you want to take the challenge, or do you just duck back into the wine bar?
Let me ask you, Joe, why do you think we fought a duel in the past? And why would I still hold a grudge other than the fact that I lost?
So I'll throw this out there, and it doesn't have, we can workshop it or just throw it away. I had got, when I picked that, I had thought, I think they may have been lovers at one point, and Saruke spurned Eva.
Sounds about right.
I think she was probably just using Eva for whatever she needed to get, right?
You manipulated me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this sounds about right. She holds a long grudges. So yep. Maybe that's why you're able to beat me then, because I was heartbroken.
Now I'm wishing I'd have chosen the razor-tongued character move, which would have let me use my cunning instead of might in in a duel.
Yeah, the duels, it's definitely, we could do it. It's just sort of a way of narratively playing it out. And you definitely can back away from it and not actually end up with mortal wounds. So it's not like one of us has to die. So I think we should.
Well,
I think we should do it. It looks kind of cool.
I actually think it might be kind of fun because the backstory that we have the unprofessional one. So never mind. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing there. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It all fits.
And
Okay.
I think that, you know, given the Jezdec's kind of the analog that we're dealing with them, is I don't see her backing down from a duel. It just seems very Horselords of the Steppe. So
The legendary Gerald wouldn't have.
exactly.
So what it says is, when you face a match foe in single combat, gain hold equal to your might. So what's your might, Saruke?
0.
Okay, Eva?
2.
Then add 1 for each that is true if you are better equipped. So does anyone want to make a case for being better equipped than the other?
I have my followers, but I don't think that would fit here.
No.
I have a hardy traveling wear. Probably not. And I have a vicious transport. Probably a proud stallion of some sort. But I don't know if we're fighting on horseback or not. So probably not. I don't have anything good.
So I guess I don't know. I might make a call, given that they are, you know, always prepared for war as part of their doctrine. And
I think it's simpler than that. I think that Saruke just routinely is equipped with an elegant melee weapon, whereas Eva, the Shiny Path, don't routinely go around tooled up for war, by the look of it. And so I think, if anything, it is Saruke who is slightly better equipped here in terms of the ability to use that elegant melee weapon. So I'm going to give Saruke an extra hold for that. And then the other two, oh gosh, my mouse is being a pain. And then another one, if you're avenging a grudge, I think Eva is avenging a grudge. So that gives Eva 3 hold versus 1. And the audience favors you. Which one of you have followers?
I have followers.
Do you have any followers, Saruke?
Do the followers just happen automatically, or
They're part of your gear.
It's an asset.
Skilled rangers and foragers, you both have followers.
Alternatively, we could say Dan is the audience and let him see who he favors. I like that.
Do you want to get drawn into this, Kassie?
I mean, I think I already am in it. It's my daughter / person who's going to go on this mission for me.
Who you're scared of, though.
Against
Who do you favor?
Who do I favor? I think I'm the kind of mother who feels like maybe her daughter needs to be taken down a peg. And so I don't want anyone to die, but I do feel like Eva needs to be reminded, humbled.
That sounds like you know, there's that significant look between.
Wait. I've got a maternal going back and forth, but I'm terrified of Saruke because I know what she did. Ultimately, I don't want Eva to die. So I think
Well,
I'm gonna
I think that's very unlikely, given the system in front of us.
that's true. So, but I know I'm very afraid of Saruke. But I
You
did
may
save,
favor neither.
but I did save Saruke's life at some point. This is a tough one, but I think I'm gonna favor.
I mean, I
favor either.
visualized this, that we've got the principals facing off, and we
Right.
see Kassie in the background,
Looking-
illuminated by a window, kind of. What do I do? What do I do?
This probably argues against my house or my interest, but you have a backstory with me, Dan. I want to teach Eva what's truly important. I don't know if that would influence your decision.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh no, that's my backstory with you.
It's
Yeah.
on yours.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna favor Saruke.
Okay.
Only,
So-
I guess, only if I feel like she can squeak out a victory, a small victory. She won't have to kill Eva.
Well, I think it's unlikely to get to that point. I think there are lots
Kassie
of
doesn't
options.
think that. Kassie doesn't know that.
Oh, right, because she knows how dangerous Saruke
Right.
is. Okay. So as you duel, you and your opponents take it in turns to describe your actions and then pick a statement from the list below, taking turns until the duel is over. So there are 3 bullet point options. I'm going to start with Saruke because the challenge is the first action coming from Eva. Saruke, do you desperately hunker down behind my defenses? Do you press the attack or recover your breath? Or one of those other things?
So I think Saruke knows that she's beaten Eva once. So that second one, if I charge in heedless of attacks, I take a flesh wound, and then the opponent either yields or takes a flesh wound. Is that how
Yes.
that's written?
Yes. Or spend hold.
Or spend hold.
Because you've got these holds to spend.
So you either do one of those 3 bullet points or you do one of the hold actions.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. And then to complicate things, I have a move that replaces those first 3 bullet point items with 3 bullet point items of my own.
Oh. Well, we'll discover what they are in a moment. What's your pleasure, Saruke? Gain hold, spend hold, or just go for it?
I think I'm going to go for it, and she's going to quickly. I think you'll see. I think we've kind of established that Eva's been drinking and is got that sort of warrior sort of thing, and I think she very quickly, almost without warning, produces a large wicked knife and charges in. I don't want to waste what I want to do is do the first hold thing, but I don't want to wait. I only have 2 hold. Yeah, so that's what I think so I think what you'll see is and in my head is that, so she's going to charge in, the knife is there and she charges in, and she purposely, I would like to say she purposely deals a flesh wound. She's also not really interested in killing Eva. Yeah, so that's what we see.
Fine.
We see her do.
So Saruke, mark a light wound on your character, and you have an option. Eva, do you yield or take a flesh wound?
I'll take a flesh wound.
Okay, and then what do you do?
One moment. Let me just remind myself, what does Hardy do? My outfit has Hardy. I just want to remind myself what that means. That's under gear tab, isn't it?
It's outfit. Yeah, gear, outfit, hardy. Helps you
gear.
resist the elements. It negates disadvantages from cold, rain, or dangerous weather. Provides
Okay.
armor when those harm you. So it's not tough. What you would
No.
want is tough armor to resist
Right.
wounds.
And yeah, I'll just take the flesh wound then. So let me mark that. Flesh wound. And once you get to 2 flesh wound, then it becomes a heavy wound, something like that.
Once you fill the 2 flesh, the next time you have to mark a wound, it has to be the next one up.
I see. And once your heavy wounds fill, then you're dead, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the if you take anything when light and heavy are used up, the next
Then
one
you're
is dead.
Okay. I am going to, let's see. I have. So again, the mechanics of the duel. So I have like these questions. I'm fighting to protect someone else. I'm fighting to hold true to a sworn oath. I'm fighting to demonstrate my skill. So if I choose one of those, I just narrate something happens and then the turn goes back to Joe then. Is that right? Like they don't have any mechanical impact?
Where are you reading those?
Under my character move.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you said.
Character move 3, sworn sword.
So yeah, this does count. I am fighting to demonstrate my skill is valid. So this one does apply. During the duel, you can spend 1 hole to instantly turn an incoming heavy wound into a flesh wound, or draw a new weapon.
Right.
So it gives you more options.
Yeah, it says answer these questions instead. I take it those are replacing the oh, I know what that is. I think it's how we figured out whether you gain hold in the beginning. Do you think those 3 bullet points replace those?
Yeah, it is. That is exactly so.
Yeah. So it probably didn't change. Maybe I gained 1 extra hold then, because I'm not fighting to protect someone else, but I am fighting to hold to a sworn oath, and I am fighting to demonstrate my skill. So I would have gained 2 on top of my beginning 2. So
I think that's fair.
I think I have 4 hold.
Okay.
What is the sworn oath you're fighting for?
To kill you, to get revenge for the way you broke my heart.
All right.
Avenging a grudge.
Yeah. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do then.
Oh, hang on. No, sorry, Jason. I think these are 3 instead. You don't get to pick from both, so you're still on 3, but for a different reason.
I think I get 2 from the start because I have might, and then I get an extra 1 for the sworn oath, and I get an extra 1 to demonstrate my skill. So I'm thinking I have 4.
Where's the sworn oath?
It's character move 3 on Eva.
Oh, I see. Sorry. So they're all coming. I beg your pardon. Fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyways, I doubt we'll use them all here. Anyways, I'm gonna go for one of these. Spend 1 hold to pick one of these. This one sounds fun. I discover a second wind and step down my most severe wound. Yield or tell me what you most fear I'll do next. So I think you damage me, but then I shake it off and I come at you with ferocity, a flurry of blows, my poison dagger, flickering in the lantern light, and you can yield or tell me what you most fear I'll do next.
Yeah. Here's what we'll so we see him, so we see her, with her flurry of blows, or I think we'll probably see, all that sort of flurry of combat. And Saruke will take a step towards, we'll see Saruke take a step towards Eva. And then she's all tensed, like fighters are, but then you'll see her relax gently, and she'll put her arms up and she'll drop her knife and quickly step in close and kiss Eva. and say, the day is yours, mighty warrior of the shining path.
Perfect. I think probably, despite my best efforts to hate you, I returned your kiss.
As any good dramatic scene would obligate, right?
Okay. Am I left with any questions I have? No, I don't think I am. I have at the minute. We know what you're about, we know what you're about, and we know what Saruke is about. Okay, so with let's zoom out from that to what's going on at the house level. I'm going to stick with this order because my plate spinning is getting more difficult by the minute. So Dan, does the Chisel and Mallet have anything he wants to do at the level of the house, or to be doing at the level of the house?
Yes, I'm confident they do, but I've not been thinking about it. So I can make something up right here and now. Oh yeah, they
I mean, don't worry about the mechanics. You tell me narratively what you want, and I'll do the mechanical bit.
I think Kassie sends some of them to deal with the avalanches.
Okay.
Or I can't remember why I need to do this, but the truth about the metal is out, and maybe Kassie's interest is in educating more people about it. So I could also see her kind of going out into the world with sending people out into the world with samples of this metal and samples of the things that we can build, so that to educate folks about it. Ooh, I'm sorry, I've got one more idea, and that is I've got a house move about a mining operation. So I could also see us starting a mining operation. Sorry, that was not very helpful. I have 3 ideas, is the bottom line.
Well, I mean, well then what about, because in all of that, most of what you told me was very kind of philanthropic, in a sense, of going out and doing education stuff. If you want to know, if you want to do something in the Reach Mountains around that, around those the volcanoes and the instability that's going on, then I think delving the depths might work, because when you start a new mining operation, raise an appropriate surplus. At the start of the next season, gain surplus coin or surplus raw materials.
And I would be totally
and the
okay.
coin might be to do with spreading the word on the mysterious metal. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be okay, or I would be totally okay with you having us either hold together or claim by force to deal with the instability before we set up the mining operation.
Okay, let's do that then. So yeah, seize control of it. Roll plus grasp.
Okay. Grasp being terrible. But I rolled a 10.
Well, what do you say? So on a hit, it's there. So you've sent laborers, workers, whoever, into the mountains to try and protect the source of the mysterious metals from this instability growing in the mountains around them. That is going to be fine. On a 10 plus, choose one. There's 3 bullet points.
This is exciting. I'm happy to play the Jason role here and raise turmoil. And I think we raised turmoil because what we realized is the instability is related to the spirits. And by taking action to stabilize things, we are driving more spirits into the land.
Lovely. I like that. So fine. So cause chaos and suffering, raise turmoil. The word is out. The spirits are. Probably the way this goes is that some people are saying the spirits cause the instability and the earthquakes and the smoking volcanoes. Other people are saying, and what they did has driven there are now mountain spirits abroad in the land.
Yeah.
Why did the wise say that Chisel and the Mallet were the people we should be trying to be like? Love it. Okay, let's go next to the Jezdec. Do the Jezdec have any house level plans, thinkings?
Let's see. So I was kind of thinking that maybe we could be doing something. I can't. So my first thought is maybe something in the read the wind, like around something that would give something to do with the Marauders, right? Like maybe something that they could. But as I'm reading the, I don't know what those questions are, make sense for what and then I was thinking about maybe, I don't know if this is a house level move, but there's where you can call in favor from the wise, and I think that gets you additional surpluses, right? If you hit on that.
Where's that?
It's on the favor, time, and turmoil.
So it is.
But then I was thinking, is there a surplus that would help the house in their machinations to ally with the Marauders? I don't know if mechanically there's like, if narratively it'd be like, hey, wouldn't that be great if we could get a some sort of surplus that we could somehow give to the Marauders, but I don't know if mechanically that.
Well, look, read the wind. How do we get access to a location item or VIP? So what you could do is you could use read the wind, and with success might come some initial advantage in a subsequent zoom in.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So
okay, read the wind, roll plus reach.
All right. I think my reach is 1. Come on, Google. No, my reach is 0. We're pretty much good at grasping things. That's as a house, that's kind of our go-to move. So, all right. So just straight up 2d6. Come on. 9.
So 9.
Take that.
So on a 9, you get an answer to your question. What you need to do is to deliver something to them that they need. And just as an aside, currently the kind of published needs, land, crops, coin, is what the Marauders need. Were you to arrive with one of those in tow, that would put you on the upside of getting a meeting with the people who matter. On assumption, I choose one of the allies you consulted to mark the map instead. Choose one of the allies. How do you see that? Make that? Oh, I tell you what. Yeah, they will tell you where you would meet the Marauders. So you get to. We're going to know where you're going to meet and what you need to take.
Okay. So I feel. Okay, so at this point, I don't think that's the shining path. That doesn't feel I kind of was thinking the cursed.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
They-
because the way
they're
this
kind of
works is,
and have been all over the place, so I think maybe that might make sense.
what I need
hate,
you to
I hate
do.
doing that with Alex not being here though, but I don't think it has a impact, any sort of
No.
negative impact on.
No, I don't think it does. And what you need to remember is that Alex is going to say where the meeting is going to take place.
Okay. Well, then let me think about that for just a quick second. Sorry. Could the Chisel and Mallet could the Chisel and Mallet be that? So let me throw this out. So Dan, the Chisel and Mallet are going to be going somewhere, right? Cassie's not. So I thought so let me walk this back. Kassie was not going to go to the monolith, but was going to be exploring these lines of power. Would where Kassie is going be close to where the Marauders are at all?
I mean, it could be. I had planned to do the statue closest to the reach. There's two of them.
Okay, so that's far away. Let's just stick with the curse. That probably.
Well, hang on. Don't get tied into Kassie telling you where this is going to be.
Right.
All you're asking is Dan, as a representative, his split brain representative of the rest of the Chisel and Mallet, to put it in a location that either they think advantages them,
Yeah,
bracket is interesting, or disadvantages you, or is
And actually,
interesting.
let me just tell you what my answer would have been if you chose Chisel and Mallet, which is the Temple of the Prophet.
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do that then.
Okay.
The reason
So-
I was saying that other stuff was I was thinking a little bit forward that might make a reason for Saruke to go with Kassie and then stuff like that, but I don't think that's going to work narratively. So I like where you went with that, Dan. So
Fine. So
Well, and I don't know if there's a mechanism to send other members of my house on those kinds of expeditions, but if there is, I think Kassie would have tried to arrange for some chiselers to go along.
I think if it's interesting, what the rules say is by the by, I think. So a meeting with the Marauders is set at the Temple of the Prophet, as being outside the steppe, but within striking distance of the nearest river, because they'll come by boat. So fine. I think that's all we have to do with that. Let me just check the move again.
Sorry, let me just ask one detail because I didn't get it in the notes. What was the Marauders' need that the Jezdec need to meet?
Fine. The Marauders currently have needs for, hang on, they're on the summary page. There they are. Needs for land, crops, and coin.
Okay, you didn't specify which one of those though.
I didn't. And to be honest,
Okay.
I'm open. As long as you can find a way, as long as you can generate a surplus between now and that meeting, Saruke, Jezdec, then the initial contact will be at advantage.
I have a mechanical question then too. So, how does one gain a surplus of land?
You already have.
About how we would do that.
Well, there's an unclaimed patch of land across the river.
Right.
You just have to seize it by force.
Yeah. So like, whose land, I guess I would say, is in that where the Temple of the Prophet and all that stuff up there is now?
It's part of the land of the wise. It's not associated with any of you. We know that 20 years ago, there was a lot of argument in the Shining Path about, whether that should be, we should march on to, take and rebuild the Temple of the Prophet. But they seem to focus more on that monastery in the mountains in the middle of the land over recent years.
Okay. Yeah, because my on a character, one of my thoughts is that while it wouldn't technically be giving them surplus of land, that the Jezdec might not oppose the Marauders taking that land. And I don't know if that has the same effect, or if we really need to stick to the actually having the surplus.
I mean, were you to turn up and say, all this can be yours, then we judge how that went. That might
Right.
require you to find common ground with them
Okay,
to see if they would accept that.
all right.
Okay.
A couple things that we could play with there. All right.
Okay. And so next we come to the Shining Path. Salah and his machinations in the Holy City. I'm curious what the Shining Path is currently engaged upon.
Okay. The first thing I'm going to do is just a quick thing. I'm just going to move my missionaries from Zernograd to back to this top of the world area.
Okay.
So I just made that change. I've got positive mood, so I don't think I'd have any.
You'd have no
Shouldn't have an issue.
trouble doing that. That's fine.
And then let me ask you a question. So I'm interested, I have this move, a house move called Word Travels Fast. So I can send a mission of my clergy to a settlement once per season. It gives me advantage on sleight and cunning rolls in that settlement.
Mhm.
I am interested in trying to satisfy my need for trade. And I see on the map that there is this serpent trading post nearby. And I am curious, if I were to send my mission there to give me advantage on sleight rolls, could I somehow use sleight to create trade and then, get it? Because, looking at the subterfuge move, it's not completely clear that you can use that. So basically what I'm trying to get at is there some way I can take advantage of my move to help me get trade? What do you think?
I think so, because one of the surpluses I've given to the marauding serpents is trade goods. So there is an implied surplus trade goods sitting there.
Right.
I think that making it seem like you're doing them a favor, taking that off their hands. I mean, I'm not going to take their trade goods away, but that would be a way for you to have developed a trade connection.
Right. So maybe make a resource appear more or less desirable. Maybe narratively, that's me establishing this dominant role in this trade relationship with.
Well, certainly, see it making yourself appear to be a valuable trading partner.
Exactly. Okay, so I will do that then. I will send my mission. I'll use my power, my move to send my mission to that trading post.
Okay.
And I am then going to maybe make this roll then, make this subterfuge roll to try to get trade. How's that sound?
It sounds great to me.
All right, so 3
roll
dice
slight.
plus 1. 3 dice plus 1. That's 12? Yeah.
That is 12. My goodness me. On a hit, they do it. 7 to 9, there's no downside to this. You can either meet an existing need for trade or add surplus trade.
Got it. And if we do another round, there's some other things I want to do, but I think that's good for now.
Okay. Well, look, it is 7 minutes past the hour. I'm going to suggest we take a break now. From now until 1/4 past the hour. Fine. See you then. We just had a little chat offline, and I think I was using subterfuge too broadly. So the way I'm going to just retro that a bit is that Shining Path succeeded with that subterfuge to make the trade arrangement between the Marauders and the Church very attractive to the Marauders. So that means that when they do claim that trade resource, they will go with advantage. So Jason, why don't we go straight to that?
Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to roll with grasp to claim by force is the wrong name for this. You're going to claim this resource of trade.
Okay. It's 3d6 plus 1. Just 7, 8. Well, that gives me a chance to add some turmoil.
Yeah, because that's
I
the
don't,
question.
let me see if there's anything else in, because this age, I'm not really necessarily trying to ruin things. It's not completely yours. There's a cost to your victory. You're gonna need of the GM's choice. How about it's not completely yours yet and you cause turmoil? I have to choose two, right?
You
Yeah.
have to choose two. Yeah.
So I think that mission that I sent is going to be forced to stay there to lock this down and create some turmoil. Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to locate missionaries at that place. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to do that. I think mechanically the missionaries is separate from the mission. If you
Yeah,
follow
I
what
think
mean.
it's which surplus are you going to
Okay,
locate there?
so they will say I have to really send a lot of people there to make this happen. So I'll move the missionaries to the Serpent Trade Post.
Fine. I'll go back round in case there's another round of moves that people want. Before we try for a zoom in before we reach the end of the afternoon. Again, you're in a different order now, so I'll use that order. Jezdec, do you have another house action you want to contemplate?
Yeah, so I'm either going to. So I'm gonna do one of two things. And if I'm just talking this out loud because I'm not 100% convinced of either one yet. I'm either going to claim some land by force, and either the land across the river, or what would happen if I tried to claim all that land where the Temple of the Prophet and stuff is by force? Is that
you could do it? You could just seize it. I mean, there will be people there, and that's why it might require a bit of force.
okay? The
Would he
other
have
thing,
to create land first? You know,
I think that it's land is tricky, isn't it? Because there's land everywhere. I suppose the question
Right.
is, where is there the kind of land you need? So where's there good grazing land in the case of the Jezdec? We know that's across the river.
It's not for me. It's not for me.
You just want territory. Then I think we can allocate. We can say an area around there is clearly, from your point of view, unclaimed land.
And then the other way I was thinking of approaching this was going to the wise using favor to get coin.
Request assistance of the arbiter. They are magnanimous in their support. Roll plus favor. They give you the assistance in the form of a loan surplus.
So what does that mean, a loan? So let's so if it's not
They give
completely
it to you.
transparent,
They just give it to you.
Okay.
They just give it to you.
Because I'm gonna give it to the Marauders. So if it's
On
not
a 7 to 9, there might be strings.
They are going to seize the land around that Temple of that northern sort of above the whole Field of Bones area there.
Yeah, that kind of chunk of land in the vicinity of the Temple of the Prophet. Let's have you roll plus grasp.
All right, finally leaning into my strengths. 8. I've got +2 on that.
So on a hit, it's yours. So that I will put a land controlled by you on there after the session. You have to choose 2.
I'm definitely raising turmoil, and that feels like very narratively appropriate, right? Like
it does.
We just grabbed a bunch of land, and then so if I choose cost of victory, I'm just going to get you're going to add a need of some sort to the thing, and so it's kind of the other thing would be is mechanically, if I say it's not completely mine, I'm going to have to designate a resource. And so the only really resource I have that would fit would be scouts, I would think, right? I mean, I can't. What do I have?
Joe, you have hit and run. Do you get a roll with advantage on claim by force?
Oh, I do. I always forget that.
would you like to roll another dice and see whether it's kind to you?
I kind of do.
Place that 2 with something better.
Oh, let's see. I'll throw one more D6 on there.
No.
No, exactly the same.
It's another 2. Gee
That's what I
whiz.
get for. That's what I get for. Yeah. So turmoil for sure, and then.
But there are ways to angle almost any resource. So, for instance, morale. You know, the steppe clans are all up for this. We've taken this land. We're on the up. But our morale is now wrapped up in this colonization effort. See what I mean?
Right.
It needn't be a physical people guarding it.
Okay. How about follow-up question. Would my need for lands go away now that I've done this? At least
Temporarily, yeah.
all right, I think I'll just have you add another, like there's a cost to the victory.
Yeah, I think the cost is that you really do need soldiers. Because, you know, you had that back in the day. You've had a battle since then, you know, a generation level battle. And all of a sudden, gee whiz, it's tricky.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've added them, and then I took land off. Now, if I end up later trading this land or offering this as a surplus to meet the needs of, will I gain the need for land back?
Sorry, it hadn't occurred to me that was the way you'd come at it. No,
Yeah.
You do not have surplus land. You have the land you needed.
Okay.
If you give this, you will end up with need land again.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I mean, what's the point of having 2 in grasp if you're not just going to be, you know, a conquering army sweeping across the land?
Right. So if I gave them this land, I can't give them this land then, right?
If you
I have
did,
to have it
you
as
would
a- I
end
have to
up
have-
with a need for land. You'd be no
So I-
worse off.
Okay, so that makes sense. All right.
Yeah. So
Yep.
you control it, but you're currently using it. Yeah. Fine. What larks? A shining path. Any further house move?
Yeah. So I have, as part of this age, as my court move, I have ensure at least 2 boxes of progress are completed this season.
Mhm.
And we do that by expending certain
Surplus.
resources.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and expend. I have leadership and morale. I will expend those. I think narratively that takes the form of me using Sala's powerful brain and the morale of his followers to clear out the spirits around the top of the world to help accomplish what the wise want to have seen done.
Fine.
And that will then, it'll add an extra, so that'll add 2 progress and then an extra progress because of the requirements of my court move or the court roll. And it'll also increase my favor by 1.
Yeah, you're trading conceivably a level of mood for favor.
+2. Is +2 the highest you can go on favor?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm going to Alan, which zoom in are we planning to do today, do you think?
I was going to ask you lot, to be honest.
Anybody have a preference?
I mean, we know we have a zoom in. Somebody's going to go to the monolith. We know we have a zoom in, which is treaty talks between the Jezdec, probably in the person of Saruke and some marauders. And Kassie, you've got a lot of stuff potentially going on, but I haven't yet formed that into a concrete proposal for a zoom in.
Cassie's going to investigate the power line issue. play electrician.
You want to do that today, or should we do the monolith today? Or does Joe's character have something else in mind?
We can do one of those two. That's fine with me. Hey, I was spacing off. I was just curious what you just did. I was only half listening.
I expended 2 of my resources to satisfy the requirements of the wise.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And that was morale.
And leadership.
So you were
And in this case, you don't give it to them, you expend it. That's why I kind of,
Yeah.
I sort of like, you know, like the last project, I think it said you give it to them, but in this case, you just use it up.
It's
yeah.
the same. It's the same, and it says when a surplus is delivered or expended.
Right. I just think probably narratively, someone can't go in and grab that. It's gone, right?
I mean, you know, were someone to stage some false demonstration of the power of the spirits,
Okay.
that might be a way to do it. Likewise, were someone to raid a body of Shining Path missionaries and decapitate it,
Mhm.
that might hit the church's leadership role. You know,
So then
I'm prepared to listen to broad spectrum options.
Let me go ahead then, after having done that, to then, Joe pointed out this using favor move. Let me do that. When you request assistance from the arbiter. So I think we see Sala, you know, saying, you know, we've done these great things for you. It's only fair that, you know, you recognize our position and try to get my leadership back, so to speak. Have them give me leadership back. So that would be 2d6 plus favor, which is +2. Does that sound good?
So just run that by me a little bit more slowly.
Yeah, so I'm doing the using favor move, which is on what do they call it? Favor and time and turmoil, and requesting assistance from the arbiter. So I think we see Sala speaking to, you know, the arbiter's agent, saying something like, you know, we've done all of these great things for you. You know, all we ask in return is that you know, formalize our preeminent position as the leaders of the land or something, the leaders of amongst the houses.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I'm looking to try to get the leadership
Yeah,
back.
I get that.
Okay.
I mean, you are the leaders, but if you want the surplus, fair enough.
Exactly. 2d6 plus 2. Here we go. That's 10.
Well.
So
On a 10
there's
plus,
few
there
strings
are few,
attached.
if any, strings.
Great.
So give yourself surplus leadership and tell me where it is, or whether it's or just leave it as dispersed.
I think it's going to be back at the capital.
Okay.
Al Tariq Anib.
Okay.
And if we end up doing my zoom in today, there's something else I want to do, but otherwise that's good for now.
Okay. What about you, Dan, and the Chisel Mallet? The Chisel Mallet, do you want to do anything else at the house
Sure.
level?
Yes, we want to actually set up this mine now. So we're doing our house move, delving the depths. When you start a new mining operation, erase inappropriate surplus. Start of the next season, gain surplus coin or surplus raw materials. The start of the season after that, gain whichever surplus you didn't pick.
Okay. So you're investing.
Yes. I'm going to erase. You know what? I'm going to erase my lumber, if that's okay.
Yeah, you've hung on to it for long enough, frankly.
Yeah, we don't need this shit anymore.
Make a note to yourself to remember to claim that coin or raw materials, when we turn the seasons. And I remind you folks that at any point someone can propose to turn the season. If anyone who hasn't had a zoom in can object, we go straight to that zoom in, right? So you don't have to have a zoom in every season, but you've got an option to make sure you do. Okay, well then I'm going to suggest that we don't do the Shining Path zoom in. I could quite like the idea, because I want to flesh out these lines of power, I think. So I'm inclined to say, let's have a Chisel and Mallet zoom in involving Kassie. So Kassie, what form is this zoom in going to take?
My assumption is that Kassie is the only lead that Kassie has really is that the statues are probably disrupting it in some way. And
we got a couple of options on the table, I think. One, Chisel and Mallet corruption is somehow influencing this, or the mysterious space metal was incorporated in their building and it's somehow messing with the signal strength or whatever.
so I think there's let's do this. Let's make this easy, I think, or complicated. One of the statues, let's check out the statue in the Great Step.
Okay.
And like that's the one where she feels like there may be an issue. And I think it's because repairs are underway for that statue. And so she believes that the crews sent out to repair it have been under corrupt influence as well, politically corrupt influence. So she's feeling like she can feed two birds with one stone by checking out the statues and just seeing, is there something mechanical going on here? Or is there something about the nature of the interactions that's a problem as well?
Okay. So it is perfectly possible for the Jezdec to define a bodyguard for Kassie. Alternatively, Dan, you have the option of offering up one of the agents of the wise.
I mean, those folks are always fun. We have to pick an agent that we have not yet used.
No, not at all.
Both of these folks are kind of annoying. Let's try the Shadow.
Ooh, one who operates behind the scenes, traveling unseen, perhaps with a dagger in hand.
I mean, actually, let me just to zoom out to the table. You two have both played agents before. Alex and I have not had a chance to play agents. Do you all want to do agents now? Because I don't feel a strong need to draw.
I was thinking of playing whatever it felt natural for, like, to have the bodyguard from the Jezdec. So
yeah, I'll play an agent if you want to do that.
Yeah, let's see what Shadow does here.
Okay.
So Alan, if I'm doing the bodyguard, do I use one of the characters on the Chisel and Mallet one, or
no, it's one of your body. It's a Jezdec bodyguard. Unless Saruke wants to go as the bodyguard.
No, I think I guess I think that probably would make it challenging to have a zoom in next time with her up where she's at. So
and so all you have to do is you select a quick roll. So it's one of the four. Some of them are kind of more dangerous than others. You know, which of those moves is going to help you be a bodyguard, I suppose, is the question.
The Shadow, is that who I am?
I think that's the one that Dan was
Yes.
keen to see in the field.
Okay.
Dan was. Cassie's not.
Dan,
When you begin playing the Shadow, say what secret the Arbiter wants you to learn or cover up. And what backstory do we know about your mission here so far? Remind me here.
I mean,
We're examining the lines of power.
yes. Let me just see the notes from the holding court. It was the wise want to know why the statues are less effective at holding the lines of power that protect the land.
Okay.
And I think the marauders maybe are giving us some evidence that the line of power is not as strong, or that the spirits are giving us some evidence that the lines of powers are not as strong. And they gave it to these folks because the Chisel Mallet, because the assumption is that the statues, which I think we said took the place of some old monoliths, like we tore down these old monoliths and put up these statues to celebrate our victory.
Not tore down. The monoliths were removed by the Empire.
Mhm.
Oh, the monoliths were
and
removed.
and the idea was that if you put statues, something in the places of those monoliths, that the lines of power could be reestablished. And
Got it.
they've not done as good a job as planned, because otherwise, where did the army of the Imperial Dead come from?
Yeah, I think, would it fit then that the secret that the arbiter wants you to learn is that the secret is that the lines of power are somehow making the spirit problem bigger and worse?
I think
That
that's the
fit?
assumption at the minute.
Mhm. So maybe add something more deeper
mean,
than that.
Yeah, I think so. A secret, something that the wise know that nobody else knows right now.
here's a pitch. It was the wise that actually released the spirits to provoke us to pull together.
Oh, yes.
And the shadow needs to make sure that Kassie doesn't learn this.
Okay.
The wise are in fact manipulative bastards.
Mhm. All right, I like it.
You don't get wise.
So, so my mission then is to is that what this little box under here is for?
Yeah.
Don't, or make sure Kassie doesn't discover that the wise are behind the spirit problem.
The
Infestation, sure. Okay.
Okay. And then you allocate the stats, and for this variety of arbiter, it is +1 law or bravery.
Okay.
And likewise, Joe, don't forget that the stat options are in a note attached to the stat box.
Yep,
For
and
your
then I get
character.
+1. I think I get +1 to might or bravery. So I think I'm done, other than a name, which I'll
Okay.
have momentarily.
So I didn't realize that all the wise are what are these things called? Special people have the same roles, have the same role moves.
Yeah, they do. They have a special move that relates to their kind of nature of the agency up there at the top, at home in the darkness in this case. But yes, for this arbiter, they have the choice of the same four. And you've got an option, I think, on or no, it's outfit, practical outfit, subtle, weapon, melee, hidden. Jason, for that.
Okay.
And of course, you pick one every time the agent is selected. You've got an advance that you can pick on arrival.
And we established that that counts right now, or
It does. It
okay.
does. Yeah.
So I'm going to pick one of these, and then I'll get an advance right from the start. Is that right? Okay. think it's ready.
Yeah.
Give them a name and a pronoun. All right. Let's see.
So Alan, on the leader role move, it has when you train a group for a few days, hold 3. Does that how does that like how do we fit that into
You tell me what you train them to do, and when they do what you train them for, spend hold 1 to add +1 to their roll's result. But my reading is you don't have to tell me until it matters.
Okay.
Yeah. Now you have routinely, like any Jezdec, you have a bunch of skilled rangers and foragers, followers astute and spiritual with you.
Mm-hmm.
So in effect, you could add a tag to them, a follower tag, so they become astute, spiritual, brutal, or what something. I can't now remember those, but and thank you, Joe, for Dan rather, for the way you were mythologizing stuff in the chat. A bard observes a street fight between a tough, ruthless, and begrudged warrior and a cunning and ambitious ambassador. Write the epic poem the bard composes after witnessing this fight. Thank you.
I'm going to stop putting them in the chat because I was like, I'm annoying myself with this. So, but I'm dropping them in the notes now. So we will have a whole section in the notes of compositions based on the story.
7 stanzas. The sun was setting in the sky, a fateful battle did arrive, 2 foes of different paths facing their final wrath. Love it.
They're pretty terrible, but
well, it doesn't say it's a good bard. It's just, some storyteller stumbles on a fight.
It would not surprise me that if the only bard available in that particular scene was the worst, most mediocre bard in the great city.
Oh, it enters 2 fighters of different paths, but equal in strength and courage. That's a very bardic interpretation of events. Okay, do we think we're about there?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's cut to this expedition crossing the southern steppe. I am just curious because there is the river that you would normally follow, I guess, will come out, joins the greater river just above the poisoned lands. We've never described the poisoned lands, but I would like to get a view across the river at the poisoned lands, Dan. So as we see Kassie leading this expedition, what do we see on the other side of the river that helps us realize that this land has been polluted by the mines of the Chisel and Mallet?
I think unlike the Field of Bones and the corruption up above, it's actually intensely overgrown, and the poison part refers to the fact that the plant life here is not only utterly useless, it can't be harvested for lumber, doesn't yield any fruit, and in fact it is deadly to the touch, so it sort of gives off toxins that if someone even brushes up against it, it will send them into
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I am just gonna now change that, because now we have a threat there, which is poisoned plant life, exclamation mark. Okay, right. And then approaching the statue. Now, again, we've never described the statues. So given that this is on the Great Step, Saruke, sorry, what's his name? Ul, her, him?
Osel.
In what way does the statue that you're approaching on the step, in what way did it somehow reflect the Jezdec as they were when the rebellion succeeded?
Yeah, so I think are these are big, right? Like, because the monolith is something that you can go down into. So in my head, I have some of the images of some of those giant statues from like the Lord of the Rings movies or whatever that were kind of carved down. So I think what it is there's like it's a giant, it's like a warrior on horse, right? And maybe with a lance, there's a big lance, that is pointing in a certain direction, which maybe at some point in the future might mean something, but yeah. So just I think it's like a warrior on horse in sort of battle, like a kind of pose, right? With a big lance.
Fine. I've added a label up there, which I will because I'm quite interested in knowing more about these statues. So the horseman, I've called it. And finally, Shadow. Do you travel with Kassie and the others, or do you intend to meet them at because there's a work settlement around here. We know there's work going on to do some kind of repair, support, maintenance, whatever. So there's a work camp of Chisel Mallet laborers, if nothing else. Is the Shadow traveling with the group, or is the Shadow already in this little kind of work camp?
I think the Shadow, who is Helga of the Cats, and I've got an image for if you scroll down to the bottom of her column.
Oh,
she has just to put her out there. She has wild tongue. You talk to and command any animal native to the land, and she also has an advance that gives her a cabal of spies. So I imagine she has a numerous smaller cats that slink around and spy for her, and she also has some larger lions and tigers that we've established in the land that kind of are part of her group, her followers. So I think she's already there. I think she's already there overseeing, and like we've established, she's making sure that people don't dig too deep to figure out exactly what's going on here, whatever that might be.
Okay. So do you want to engage with At Home in the Darkness here, or are you holding that one back?
Say that again?
You could have scouted out this location if you're
Oh,
there.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, let's get that on the table. Sure. Roll plus cunning. So she's been here a while, checking it out, making sure nobody else is figuring things out. Let's see what she does. She got a 6.
Oh my! Will you look at that? On a hit, pick one. On 7 to 9, do something, put them on edge. I think Held of the Cats. How would you describe her character?
I think she is. I think she's outgoing. I think she is revels in luxury. So maybe her tent is extremely ornate with lots of riches, lots of jewelry and rich cloths. She enjoys a fine glass of wine. I think that's the kind of character she is.
Then I think that she is a splash of excitement and color in this camp. So I think any effort for her or her followers to in somehow kind of do something surreptitious, I think I'm going to make that a disadvantage. But on the upside, you think that the kind of head of the work camp, who's Gulfrin of the Chisel, she's very suspicious. She's overseeing the maintenance, and there is in your, because you've been invited to break bread with Gulfrin. Gulfrin has been fascinated by your opulent tent, because she's living in this kind of leather tent, in the mud and mess of the work camp. And it's probably Kassie and Ossol. The first thing you will see, apart from this great horseman, is probably this opulent tent, which stands out from the rest of this drab work camp. Laborers trailing away, there's scaffolding up. What are you going to do?
I'd like to use, I have a move called Long Memories, which from Cassie's ambassadorial days, which when I enter a new court, I can roll and learn maybe a little something. I'm considering Helga's tent, essentially her court. Does that sound okay?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, by all means. I thought you were going to play it at Gulfrin the Chisel, but go ahead.
Oh, interesting. Stand by. No, I was going to also use one of them, my other ambassadorial move that for Gulfrin. Okay, so I am rolling plus lore, which is a +1. I rolled a 6.
How do you fend off the wildcats that attack you, Kassie? They came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like, give me just a moment. I need a visual aid here.
Would and Dan, ignore this if you want to. Would there be any sense that you could call for aid or something from the bodyguard? Because that I would suspect that the bodyguards would spring into action given their
Look, I am very happy, given that the bodyguard is on, that Ossol is there with this sole purpose. If Ossol wants to act as disarm, heroic to de-escalate a dangerous situation, I'm prepared to do that. I just don't. I don't want to take that away from.
Yeah,
Kassie.
I don't either. I'm not trying to interject.
So Kassie, do you want to step back, let the bodyguard do what they're supposed to do, or?
I like the idea of using. Can we use call for aid? Where I say to Ossol, these cats are not allowing me to do my ambassadorial duties here with Helga. So you may say what a character nearby can do to boost my efforts.
Yeah, you have to
have cats under control.
You have to have made a roll first.
I did make a roll. It was
tragic. So you did. Of course you did. I beg your pardon.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, well spotted. So let's have you call. Yeah, let's try that. We retcon it a bit, so it's not an actual attack. It's you spot these cats coming at you, and that's an opportunity to call for aid. So how will you do it? What do you do, Saruke, when these cats are incoming?
It's Ossol.
Ossol.
So many names, so little time. Okay. So I have two thoughts on this. The easiest thing would be to just come in and shoo them away mightily, right? That would be easy. But I also had this thought that what might be narratively fun is we had established that the Jezdec brought back big cats from the war. I kind of like the idea of they just kind of come to him like, here, kitty, sort of thing, right? Like they just basically subdues them, and in that way. And so I don't know what stat that would be.
I think that's bravery.
Okay.
That's that.
The cat's so he
Roll
would be
plus bravery, and we'll see how well it goes. You have relevant backstory, I think.
It's also there's no backstory.
Oh, there's no backstory, so
Yeah.
it's yes.
other than he's the bodyguard, right? I mean,
Yeah, but that there's no bonus in doing the job. So
No.
2d6 plus bravery.
brave. All right, so that's a +1. 8.
On an 8. On any hit, you increase the result from so it becomes 7 to 9
Okay.
on that.
Like it.
But you share in the move's consequences. So on a 7 to 9, what does that do for
So the
your move?
Yeah, the move was long memories. On a 7 to 9, name one secret of the leaders and an enemy of theirs. It's
Okay.
not abundant consequence, but so I assume this is a secret of the leader of this court, which is the shadows.
Yes.
Secret. I don't have any good political ideas of what her secret might be. So I'm open to ideas. I'm wondering if no, that's a little too corny.
Now, if you were looking for kind of there is a thing with each of the shadows. When 4 advances have been taken, they may also pick a new kind of driver, and the driver for the shadow is assassinate or expose a key figure in one of the houses, then disappear. And is it possible that you know who the victim is?
Who was or is going to be?
Is going to be. Even which house they belong to, if you want to keep it as open as that.
I wonder if Kassie is aware that the shadow is intending to destabilize the democracy of the cursed because the wise see it as a threat to them.
Righto.
Is that too
So
much?
no, that's fine. I think the cursed is the target of that move. If that move ever comes into play,
Right.
and somebody who's controlling the shadow at that point may decide it does. But also,
I was just going to say maybe the cats go right to one of the members of the curse that's in your entourage, and rips them apart. It seems to be uncannily drawn to that person.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I don't think we have any cursed on hand. Because I think that's a bit too
Unnamed.
telegraphed.
Okay.
Yeah. But also it says you also have to tell me something about an enemy of theirs. That's the secret of Helga and an enemy of theirs, which could be another shadow, another agent, by the way.
Yeah, I was thinking that there's some dissent. And maybe it's the Falcon Vernhof. Because they sort of work at odds with each other.
So the Falcon is the enemy of Helga. That's really helpful.
Just to make our lore more complicated.
Indeed, as though we did not have, that relationship board was not already kind of covered in red ribbons going from here to there and everywhere else. Thank you. So the cats, seem to come to you, but then they go to Uhl and they kind of, come up to the horse and they're kind of brushing the horse's legs, and then they go off into the undergrowth, and we finish that move. Helga, the group from the Chisel Mallet that you've been expecting have arrived. What do we see as they arrive, or do we see nothing involving you?
I think Helga will come out and draw the cats away, and I say, I'm very sorry for them. They're all in an uproar. I have to be honest. I think your overseer Gulfrin is at fault. He's really a mean, ruthless, vicious person. And he's doing a horrible job of what's going on here. I really think, to be honest, you should get rid of him. He's a danger and a failure. So maybe I'm trying to trigger find common ground here.
I think Gulfrin's pronouns were she, her, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they were.
Okay.
Yeah, let's have you go with find common ground.
All right. Plus cunning. But it would just sound. You said I was at disadvantage on subterfuge. Does this sound like subterfuge kind of?
I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
right.
directly related to that really botched roll.
Yeah.
And the resulting hard move.
So 4 + 2 is 6, + 2 is 8. So
Okay.
that is the player
It's
picks 2,
terms.
and both must be met. Yeah.
So
They'll do it if you meet their terms. So
and what is your objective here?
I want Gulfrin's getting too close to the truth. So I want Kassie to get rid of him.
Okay. So what's the cost?
Or
Kassie?
sorry.
You only do it if.
Oh boy. I will only do it if I can so many directions I could go. I could say the shadow tells me everything they know about the spirits.
Ooh.
Actually, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
You reveal your full agenda. Is that the one?
Oh, I didn't realize I'm picking from a list here.
Yeah, there's.
I mean,
Yeah,
there is a list, but we, again, as with any list, I would try to. I mean, that full
Yeah,
agenda seems to fit.
Yeah, that fits really well, actually.
Okay. You get to pick 2, both of which must be fulfilled. Christmas has come early.
Fantastic. You can give me you give me something now that's worth it.
Ooh, like
And
what?
I think you should give me, I think can I do this? The wise commits some resources to fixing these statues. Gives the Chisel and Mallet a surplus of workers or something.
Yeah, in effect, you're going to use all the benefits of using favor, request assistance from the arbiter without any cost, or without having to make a roll.
Presuming the shadow wants to do it.
Well, the agent of the wise may or may not want to go with those terms.
In which case, I will not take steps to remove Gulfrin. Right.
And what are the workers doing? Are they like excavating? Is it like an archaeology site, or is it like they're rebuilding something? I don't recall.
In my mind, what's happening here is that the statues are falling apart, and so our immediate instinct is, well, let's fix them because that may help, and it's just sort of weathering and wear and tear and what have you. But I also feel like what's actually going on is that there's some sabotage within the house that's happening. And that's what Kassie is here to investigate, both of those things.
Well, there are two live suggestions. One,
right.
Corruption in the Chisel Mallet, or the metal is
right.
The,
so is it a workmanship?
There's an inherent weakness from back in the day.
right, as a forger, her immediate instinct is, well, this is obviously a workmanship issue, but as a former ambassador, she's like, well, maybe there's something else going on. Does that answer your question, Jason?
Yeah, yeah. So I think then maybe we cut to inside her tent, sitting down to a luxurious meal, and I say something like, look, the wise, we know that these statues, they're behind the infestation of the spirits. And the only way to bring things back under control is that, and this is the part where maybe I'm creating too much fiction, but we have to, I want to say destroy it. I think we're behind the sabotage, and your girlfriend is getting in the way. What they're doing is actually working against our purpose. How's that sound?
So you are in effect revealing that the wise are behind the spirit infestation.
Exactly.
Over a
And
sumptuous
so if you see the wisdom in what I'm saying here, we will give you more support to accomplish your goals. And that goes back to what you're asking for workers or something, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I make you those promises. I open up the truth to you. What do you do, I guess?
And,
But you still
I just want, Ossel is in the room as well. So I will be asking Ossel, from a Jezdec point of view, what does this revelation mean? But let's go to Kassie first.
I don't know, if I were in a room full of cats, I would just be playing with the cats. But so Jason, just so I get this straight, the shadow is revealed. Hey, we're the ones releasing the spirits, and girlfriend is trying to prevent that, but we still want her removed.
Yeah, Gulfin's trying to rebuild the statue, but we know, the wise know, that actually the statues are the reason that the spirits, we need to destroy these statues to end this, to work against these spirits. It's a little convoluted, but that's kind of how
I mean, I was going to simplify and just say that also we are paying off girlfriend to not do a very good job.
Okay, yeah. Although I
So-
want to get rid of girlfriend. We've established that I want you to get rid of girlfriend. So
right.
I'm thinking girlfriend isn't playing ball, or maybe he's blackmailing us. I don't know. We can flesh that out.
Girlfriend's maybe trying to play both sides. All right. Well, I appreciate your honesty, and it is terrifying to me that the wise have been playing with our lives in this way, simply to reinforce their own power.
That's one
As a
way of
craftsperson, I really want these statues to be fixed, but I also understand, as a lore master, I understand that there may be more going on that we do not understand. Girlfriend's a workhorse. We set her to a task and she does the task, but she may be easily distracted as well. I will find a new foreperson for this job, one who has a little bit more integrity and subtlety. But to bring some resources to this would help us ensure that whatever we can do, whatever needs to be done will get done efficiently.
Well, we don't want girlfriend fired. We want girlfriend gone. If we make that happen, we'll be happy to provide you with those resources. Girlfriend knows too much, or at least they think they know too much.
And there has to be a point where Kassie kind of looks into the camera, and there's this realization now that she also knows quite a lot.
Yes. Cassie's used to knowing too much. Can Kassie agree to taking out one of her own? And I think it's probably not the first time Cassie's done this. Let's do it. Cassie's going to step away from the table and say, I agree to your terms.
Also, does Ossel do anything? Do we get any impression as an audience of what Ossel thinks of the agreement? First of all, the revelation, and then the agreement that's just been made.
So as per the realization, I think that probably just feeds into what their house already, the Step Lords have always been a little on the outside, right? They're nomads, they're whatever. And so I think he probably feels, somewhat unsurprised and at that. But I then think we'll see, I think that there's a grudging respect that he sees for Kassie, in the sense that he understands that leadership requires hard choices. And so I think you'll see, and maybe if at some point there is a moment that he would even say that to Kassie. Maybe not in that setting, but at some point later on.
And I think that's where we cut that scene. It is nearly 1:15. I would suggest we take a very short break until 20 past the hour. Then we come back and tie up the zoom in. Yeah? See you in 5. Okay, back for our last segment. I noticed in the text, there's in the chat, there's some suggestions from Dan about Kassie. Ideas for what's next. Kassie offers a gift to Helga. Kassie approaches the work group. Kassie asks Ossel to take out Gulfrin. So
I was thinking about them, so I wanted to write them down before I forgot them, but I'm not married to any of them. Yeah.
So I'm imagining after that kind of, we cut back into the tent, I think, where now we've passed the point of what's going to happen. Now it's how it's going to happen. So what's the conversation we hear? Which of those does Kassie kick off with?
I mean, I think since we've sort of come to this agreement, I'm imagining that I am offering Helga a gift, which I brought with me, which is a brooch in the shape of maybe a cat's head, that has jeweled eyes. And it's, the finest craftsmanship of our house. In fact, we have a move, add the reliable tag to every item your house creates. So it's sort of this unbreakable brooch, and I sort of offer it as like a sealing of the deal kind of thing, like this is breaking the rules, but I'd hoped it has a ritual where I can also use it to kind of keep tabs, but I don't have any means to know that ritual or that anyone would have taught it to me. So,
well, wouldn't this be a fine opportunity in this place of power to unearth some forgotten lore?
Now seems like the time. Dinner with a friend.
You have this brooch. Maybe now is the time to see if you can work out how to make it. I suppose I'm not certain what the purpose of that tracking device is.
Well, she's the shadow, so.
Oh, sorry, it's Helga. Yeah, sorry, not Helga. Yeah. Fine. Okay.
There are a lot of NPCs.
There
are a lot of them.
So no, I think this is the perfect opportunity for a lore master to see if they can imbue this with such a ritual. But there is a move, and it is called Unearth Forgotten Lore.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I just want to see it. Yeah, I don't have any character moves that will help me with that. Okay. My lore is +1. Cassie.
And so the way this would work is that Unearthed Forgotten Lore is a way to get fictional positioning to learn the ritual. So there's 2 moves.
So it doesn't
on the
even
way.
give me the ritual.
No, just tells you how whether you're in the right place at the right time to do that. If it's that important to you.
Well, apparently it is because I rolled a 12.
Hey.
Okay, on 10 plus, ask 2. Whose ancestors are most tied to this place? What was it made to remember? Or maybe it's about this brooch, this gorgeous place, this gorgeous thing. What dangers is it hiding? How can I draw on this for power?
I think those latter 2 are the best. What dangers is it hiding? How could this bite me back? And how can I draw on this for power?
I think, how can you draw on this for power? I think that were you to touch the brooch to the statue, whether the statue is, whatever the statue is doing, this is a place of power. There was once a monolith here. Touching the brooch to that place of power would allow you the option to learn what amounts to a tracking ritual. You know, where is this brooch? In terms of how could this bite you back, in effect, you would be using the power of the land to track a power of the land in the form of an agent of the wise. So if things went badly, the agents might know what you've done.
Right. 2 batteries touching each other. Okay.
Dan, I also noticed your role move. I wonder if you've triggered Rogue. Mark, when you realize a core part of your house's culture is a fabrication, say what harm the falsehood is causing. I wonder if this whole revelation that the wise really don't want you to build the statues, they want you to, destroy them, whether that would trigger that maybe. Get yourself in advance.
Yeah, I love it.
Does that make
Is it
sense to you, Alan?
Yeah. Say what harm the falsehood is causing. Well, how would you phrase the falsehood? What the impact this is having?
Is that to Dan or me?
Oh,
Yeah.
to Dan, I think.
Yeah. So I think this sort of long discord in the house has been sown by the wise maybe from the outset, and that they're although they were counting on us to do a lot of this building, they also recognize that sort of a constant unreliable or shoddy workmanship that shows up despite our house move. Is their ability is essential for them to kind of maintain their hold.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Oh, this is good. It's got to be the shining path.
The GM says, so which other faction might know the truth? I think it has to be the shining path. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
You might want to just put something to that effect in the notes at some point. But the other thing we now need to do is to have you out there in the moonlight. The horseman is looming above you. There's this scaffolding. Ossel is probably on your shoulder.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to learn a ritual?
I desperately want to learn a ritual. I'm trying to, with my advance though, I'm trying to decide which of these character moves I'm going to take. Or maybe I should just bump lore for my life.
Yeah, just before you roll with it.
Right,
So
exactly.
you have that move that lets you get advantage on, it's on enacting a ritual, and that ancient magic uncovered. That's
yeah, it's kind of interesting. She's not going to be around long enough to gain 3
true.
vision. Yeah, I'm just gonna bump Lore.
Okay.
Gosh, I gotta miss this person when she's gone. Okay.
Well, she's still new mature. She has another age in her. If you
I know, but we need some new chisel and mallet blood in this. All right.
learn a ritual, fictional position to learn a ritual, roll plus law.
Ten.
Wow. Your tutor is the land itself. What form does the land take to teach you this ritual?
That statue talks to me.
Oh, yes. Yes. Fine. So on 10 plus, pick only one of those things.
These are great. I think I'm forbidden from ever speaking with Helga ever again.
That's great, but it does really, it's a little bit dependent on how often Helga's going to crop up. So I'd like to broaden it to any agent of the wise, because if you talk to an agent of the wise, there is a risk that's where the risk that the wise works out what you've done comes from.
Love it.
They see something in you. Does that seem too much?
So Kassie cannot speak to any agent of the wise.
Exactly so.
Once Helga is in possession of this brooch.
Otherwise, that's where the risk is. If you do it, I'll probably give them a role to kind of work out that you've been messing with the wise.
Right. All right.
Yeah. So so you're gonna write a ritual, and this ritual is it allows you to do what? To know where Helga is, or to know where the whoever is carrying it is?
I had imagined whoever's carrying it.
Fine.
Is.
Fine. So just make a scribbly note somewhere. Tracking ritual. But I can never talk to an agent of the wise again without the risk of them finding out what I've done. That seems like a reasonable limitation. I don't know if you want to enact the ritual now just for fun, or whether you want to just keep that in your back pocket, Kassie.
I guess
because as far as you know, she's in that tent over there.
Yeah, I guess I didn't pick a yeah, I'm gonna hold off. Yeah. I'd sort of imagined it as a tracking device, but what I'm realizing now is I can cast this ritual anytime to figure out where she is or where the brooch is.
Exactly. Also, what's your reaction when this, great statue modeled on a Jezdec Horselord speaks to Kassie?
Yeah, I think that I think I like the idea that the statue is sort of the Jezdec have always felt that it is sort of it's important to them, right? It's meaningful to them beyond just what it actually does, its purpose, right? So I think he is yeah, I think you see him, you see him, his eyes get wide, and maybe he even you even see him you maybe even see him do something I don't know what the right word is, where they I don't want, not prostrate themselves, but something in between prostrate themselves and stand there, right? So I don't know what I'm thinking there, but
show some reverence.
Yeah, shows reverence, because I think maybe the figure that is on the horse is obviously a figure from their mythology, right? And obviously the figure spoke, right? And so now this is like I think he turns to to Kassie and says, Saruke was not wrong. There's much commonality between our houses. Consider your problem with the foreman dealt with.
Well, then, I mean, do tell, Ossel. Is that, do we see you slink away into the darkness?
No, I think what we see is there is a figure, one of his followers, that has been, along kind of off away, and he turns to them and they nod, and then they move off. And so I think if we want to do this mechanically, I can do the followers that under orders thing.
You can. Now, bear in mind, they currently have astute and spiritual. Yeah.
Yep.
And you will get +1 on the dice roll to follow orders for any one of those that applies. I'm going to give you spiritual because they've just seen what you've just seen.
Right.
So they are motivated. But I'm less clear, because what does astute mean? They're great at spotting hidden or ambiguous details.
Right.
If they were shadowy, but this might be the first time we actually use the rewritten rule, which is spend a gear point to invent something on the hoof. So you could now simply allocate them. You've got 1 gear point to spend. You could simply say that this group of rangers and foragers is also shadowy.
Yeah, so the other thought I had was we've got this roll move. When you train a group for a few days.
Yes.
Don't
forget everything I've just said.
And so when I read this, when they do what you train them for, spend hold one for one, sorry, to add +1 to their roll's result. So is that are we adding a tag, or can we just, No,
the way that would work is that you will roll the dice and you will tell me how many of those 3 holds you want to spend. They're getting +1 for spiritual. You could add another 3. You could spend all the holds and roll +4 to fiercely assault.
Do you need me to tell you that before I roll?
Oh, yes.
Of course. So I'm already going to get +1. Another +2 because of the might, right? Is it fiercely assault?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, quite right. Oh, no, sorry. This isn't your might.
Oh,
this is
okay.
Their skill set.
Okay.
Yeah, so they get +1 for spiritual, and you can spend up to 3 holds to boost that to +4. I'm not sure if we're allowed to go above +3, but I doubt the rules say.
Let's spend 2 more of those hold. I'll keep 1 to get
Okay.
+3.
Roll +3.
All right. Over here.
But before you roll the dice, tell me.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Tell me the circumstances. Is this calling out in public? What is this?
Yeah, so here's what I thought I kind of liked. I kind of liked the idea that one of the the group of followers came, but one of them found the person and accused them of defiling in what they were doing, kind of that they had defiled the honor of the Jezdec and their traditions in how they had been. Maybe they accused them of going too far in what they had done. And then goes ahead and kills them.
Let's see how that goes then.
So I rolled a 6
plus
the 3, so 9.
9. Call for aid. Is Ossel, could they call for Ossel's support here?
How would that look? Because I don't think I don't think it fits that they would come in and like also attack the person, right? Because I
No.
feel like the honor thing that you would, but like
No, maybe it's role plus law, because what you're you know, they see you looking at them and they know what you know, this is about belief. Role plus law to call for aid, to help them. I'm only putting it on the table. You might think that's too big a risk.
Yeah, it's not going to go very well. He's -1 in lore.
Okay, then take the 7 to 9.
Yeah, so
You could have a bunch of tigers and stuff help if you want.
I think they'll lose a tag. And can I suggest something? That maybe they lose the spiritual tag because they manufactured the fact that this was about the spirituality of this, and it really wasn't.
So now hang on a second. Where are you looking?
So I was looking under followers under orders. Am I in the wrong place?
No, I'm in the wrong place. You're in the right place.
Yeah, so they fall short in one aspect. There'll be unfortunate consequences, or it costs them and they lose a tag.
Fine.
So I thought that we could lose the spiritual tag because they kind of basically made it up, right? And so that's not very spiritual.
Oh, they fulfilled the task. They were sent here to do this important thing, and they've done it.
Okay.
Fine. Girlfriend is dead. Anybody got anything they wanted to tie up that zoom in, or are we done with it?
I'm curious how Kassie gets the brooch to me since she can't actually talk to me, or how that all plays out.
So I was imagining, we got the timing, I think, a little wrap around the axle, but I was imagining I did the ritual first, like when we arrived in the cover of night.
Ah.
And I think Joe was imagining it happened after the meeting, which is why they got sent in order, but I feel like we can smooth that over. So I'd imagine we did that ritual as a bit of a flashback. And then we're talking. And then I say, I will seal the deal with this, but this is the last we will speak to each other.
We will never speak of this again.
We will never speak of this again, or really of anything ever again.
Okay.
So
I think Helga claps her hands, she smiles, she loves it, and she puts it on immediately, of course.
And zoom out. We'll do the zoom out at the start next time, because Alex will, and some of you will have zoom out to do. Yeah, right. That bit I think is done, and that I think is where we'll finish for today after a quick stars and wishes, if that's okay.
I cannot believe how much we packed in. That was
got a lot done there. Yeah.
Huh.
So in the order I can see you, Joe, any stars, any wishes for next time?
Yeah, so Dan, I love how the transition of Kassie from naive to conniving, right? Like as or maybe not so naive, right? You know, that's been because I remember that was kind of, we're like, all right, I'm gonna get in on this, some of this action, and I'm really enjoy that was good. And Jason is as the shining path is the shining path, right? And I really it turned out like I liked that for like the right away, let's duel, let's be the hot-headed, fiery, and then bringing in the well, maybe you're my mom, right? And the big reveal there, I like that too. Alun obviously the gets the bulk of the stars for I have a vision in my head that behind and off to the side, off camera, there's a giant wall with all of the string things that you're to keep track of all of the what's happening here and stuff. Wishes, I don't have a lot of specific, other than it's funny, Dan, that you ended up doing a ritual, because I wrote down I want to learn a ritual, right? That's something I kind of want to do, you know, in the next thing, because I'm curious about that process, right? Because it kind of feels like you literally just write it from scratch, right? It doesn't, because they don't have like a list of rituals that you can really choose from. But yeah, so that's one of the things. Somehow I want to try to do that next time.
I mean, just by the by, there is a tab labeled rituals that I copied from
Okay.
Lowell's hack of this for Legend of the Five Rings, just tweaked a little bit, just to give some kind of sense of the scope they could have.
Yeah.
And Dan, we still don't have the mysterious star metal ritual idea written down anywhere, really.
No.
So you know, you want to give that some thought, that's fine. And it needs to have nothing at all to do with chariots unless you really want it to.
Okay.
Thank you. Jason, any stars, any wishes?
Yeah, I think all three of us players did a good job of playing off each other in the beginning when we were laying out some of the little scenes, linking our characters together. I think, you know, I appreciate Dan going with the idea of being my mom. I think that's really rich. I think Joe and I, from the start, when we were establishing our backstories, we both kind of saw us dueling and having this sort of romantic relationship. So I definitely would like to see more of that in the future. I like getting the duel. We got quite a few new things on the table today, like we were saying about rituals, but also the duel. It seems really interesting. We could have gone a lot farther with that, but I like the fact that it was short and sweet. It was just a little piece of that rule, but I wouldn't mind seeing another more complicated, long-term, you know, long-lasting duel coming in the future.
I mean, that might be the way to get that is probably to set up a duel with a significant non-player character on the grounds that I might be more prepared to push it to sacrifice rather than yield.
Yeah, and that just potentially what I was thinking ahead of, you know, where my zoom in is, and going to this these catacombs or whatever underneath the monolith. It might be some significant bad guy, you know, a duel with them there. So one question about rules on the gear points. How do you figure out how many gear points you get? Is it how many surpluses you have?
It's surpluses in particular places, so they're accessible.
Okay.
Minus need.
Okay.
Or have I changed that? I might have changed that on the hoof.
I think it originally.
It just said surplus.
Yeah, I think it was just surpluses that are
I think that was. Yeah. I think that was giving me too many. I'll give that a bit more thought.
Yeah,
it's very much trying to come up with a blades like we need enough. Because whenever I've played this game and chosen that kind of stuff in advance, you spend 20 minutes agonizing over it and it never plays a part.
Right.
You know, today I think was the first time we even had a hint that we might have got a gear point spent.
Okay. Yeah, I just figure out how you want to do it, because I do have an idea of using some of those. I just want to know how many I have. So
I'll go back and check. I think I might have said it's the number of surplus in a particular place. And I think what I've done today when I was working it out was subtracting needs from that. And that's not what I meant to do.
Okay. Does it have to be, is it like the number of surpluses in a particular place, or is the
no,
like I have 5 surpluses in 3 different places? So would I have 5?
I toyed with the idea of saying it's the number of surpluses where you are, so you can draw on them. But to be honest, that requires me to have you kind of as pins on the map, and I really can't be asked to track that. So if it's in a place, it's accessible. If it's dispersed, it's inaccessible to you in terms of how you could have some extra stuff. That was my thinking.
Okay. All right, great.
Dan, any stars, any wishes?
Always. I am loving this game. Yeah, I really liked the dynamic between Kassie and Eva. I thought that was great. It was an absolute joy to watch the duel between you two. And I agree with Jason. I'd love to see something longer and maybe sort of indulging a little more cinematic too. My wish last time was to do more of these kind of custom house and character moves, and I really got a chance to do that, so I'm grateful. I do feel like Spotlight was on Kassie a lot today, so I am looking forward to next time having less Spotlight and watching the events unfold.
The joy of zoom in. Yeah, stars from me. What did I write down? Yeah, the whole Kassie thing, you know, there's been this implication of naive youngster, now slightly more world weary, more cynical about what's going on in the house. And then we saw that today when the offer is, okay, I'll do it if you know, kill him. Yeah, I thought that was that was a decent chunk of arc for Kassie in very little kind of screen time, really, but you know, it just on the money. I enjoyed the duel. I'm not sure. I'm going to go back and reread the rules because it seems odd, some of it. You know, but I'm going to check. And I was glad that you were able to use that character move, Jason, once we worked out how it applied. Some of the character moves are not that hugely powerful and they're a bit narrow. But then I think that's because all of the basic moves, all the character level moves are quite big in terms of their impact. You know, it's not the kind of game where you roll the dice an awful lot. What I'm beginning to enjoy, actually, I'm a bit twitchy about it, but and stop me if you think I'm going too far, is that it can feel like there's an awful lot of narrative and storytelling, and then, you know, maybe there's a dice roll. And I just keep an eye on me whether I'm letting things go on too long before I call for a dice roll. But they're very large and very kind of quite vaguely written. So it's not the kind of game where you have kind of move, which I suppose means that there's less of that kind of avalanche of moves where you set off one and off they go. But that's the nature of the game. And so I loved Kassie. I loved the interaction between you, Jason, and Dan around, you know, Mother. I've just been looking backstory. Kassie switched sides to help me. Can I trust her? So there's almost in that an implication that Kassie let the child be taken away because Kassie thought that was for the best. I'd quite, as if I had a wish, it would be I'd quite like to see some of that, maybe some of what went on, or we learn a bit more about the circumstances of that as we work through this. But I am your father, Luke. You know, see where we're going with that. So no, I had a great time. And I was glad that we were able to get quite a lot in today, because last time it just felt like, oh God, there's another mechanic we have to do before we can do any playing. So that was all good. So I'm going to stop the recording. Is it okay if I publish this recording? Thank you very much.